flesh with other members of the Brat Pack, like, I don't know, Andrew McCarthy and Danny?
No, I'm not, no. I worked with me on Bobby.
Of course.
I worked with Christian Slater again, who I'd worked with in Young Guns, too, on Bobby as well. Bobby had everyone in it. You were in Bobby, weren't you?
I was, yeah.
That's where I know you from. Hey, good to see you.
The bond is getting stronger by the minute. Anyway, Martin, with a name like Mr. Sheen, we know that you always deliver a polished performance, and we are talking cleanliness right now.
Yes, Ruth Goodman has been cleaning up her acts for a series of films looking at the history of hygiene. Film on those Whiffy Tuesdays. Nice. So I shower or bath men?
I'm shower.
You're a shower man.
Shower. Sometimes sink.
Yeah.
Okay, if you're in a hurry.
Depends what you've got.
Yeah.
Now, earlier we asked you to send us your father and son pictures. We had a great response, as usual. Emilio, let's see yours first.
This is Graham and Andrew Copley.
Oh, look.
Got that pretty much alike.
And Martin, there we are, look.
This is Bob, who's 73 years old, and his son Sam.
Right.
He's 32. They're from London.
Really similar. This is a good one. This is Andy Hans holding newborn Paul, and 30 years later, Paul on the right-hand side here holding his son Henry. Lovely.
And just to finish, we've got Tony and son Matthew. Look, just an inch between them now. Martin, Emilio, thanks ever so much. All the best with the way in cinemas 15.
Yeah, tomorrow we'll be here with Tamsin and Greig. We'll see you then. Have a lovely evening.
Bye-bye. And Alex Jones, and our guest tonight is an award-winning actress who's gone from Black Books to Green Wing, The Archers to Anne Frank.
And if you've been watching BBC Two on Monday nights, you'll have seen her keeping her friends close.
Very, very close.
You want me to stop?
Hey, lovely to see you. Very tense. There.
Tamsin, you lucky girl.
Oh,
Getting to kiss Mark LeBlanc. Now, how was it snogging Joey? Come on.
Unbelievable. I got a great text from my sister going, "Oh, you've got to song him." I said he was a great song.
Oh.
He, do you know what? It's not real. You're kissing on the telly. It's not
There
real.
was good tension there, though.
There was tension. It's all it's in the editing and the build-up.
How many takes was that then? Did you just keep going one after?
I know. Oh,
Try
that
again.
wasn't quite right. No, it's all technical. Because when you kiss properly, it doesn't look right on the telly. And so you have to do it slightly bigger than you... I can't believe I'm telling you this.
Well, speaking of that, I mean, his character in the episode, it's quite exaggerated, a lot of things. Is he like that in real life, or is he quite, you know...
Well, what that's interesting about the show is that, you know, you're being fed an idea of who you think Matt LeBlanc is.
Yeah.
It plays into that whole, you know, that need to know our local celebrities, you know, and basically at the end of it, you don't know Matt LeBlanc any more than you knew him before. And so it just very subtly plays with that whole notion of we don't know who anybody is really.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Tamsin fans will be very glad to know that episodes is finished, but next week a brand new comedy starts. We'll talk a little bit more about that later on. But our first film looks at two schools with very different cultures, whose pupils have been right into each other and recently visit each other for the very first time.
Yeah, how far did these strangers have to travel to meet up? Well, it's just a couple of miles. Here is Safra Advertisers have used every tasteless trick in the book to make you all buy stuff.
Now, please be aware that watching this film will make your dishes sparkle like morning dew, get rid of household odours, and make you irresistibly attractive to the opposite sex.
Yes. Yes. I was thinking about that. Oh, look, is there a picture?
There is. There's you. Very convincing.
Yes. Do you know what? I was actually 9 months pregnant when I was, and it was. Can I say it was for boots? No, can't say that. I didn't say that.
Other pharmacies are.
And look at the size of me. I thought it was quite neat. Obviously not.
You were neat.
That was you proper pregnant? That was you?
That's
yeah.
my second child there.
That's lovely.
But what is it about you and bumps? Because isn't it true that a rock star kissed your bump once? A very famous one. Come on.
No, that is true. The thing, actually, I mean, he really didn't have much choice because I thought it was quite neat carrying my children.
Yeah.
Really not. And this was the third child, and that one had gone out about 4 feet beyond me, so he really didn't have a choice. It came looming towards him, and I pushed his head down. No, I didn't. And,
Who were we talking? Who was it?
Bono!
It was Bono! Extraordinary.
I was presenting an award at the Q Awards, and I waddled up to stage with Julian Reintutt, who was with me in Green Wing, and I said, if I give birth today, can I call it Bono? And the little voice went, yes! Like that, and so it was a girl, so we called her Bona.
Right.
No, but he did come and, he got down on his hands and knees. Well, he's on his knees, and kissed, kissed my daughter's, the dome.
Right. Well, speaking of all things mums, you play a mum, don't you? The new sitcom, the Friday night dinner. There you go, you say. 10 p.m. Friday night. Yeah, and you love a bit of MasterChef. Let's just have a look at this.
You watch MasterChef.
To be so literal, Jim, of course. This is the second time that you've played a Jewish mum, isn't it? Because you were the mum of Anne Frank. And this is the second time.
Yeah.
So what do you think attracts you to these roles, then?
Well, I think maybe it's the roles are attracted to me. There's something about this nose that has got a destiny. I don't know what. My grandfather was a Polish Jew, so there's obviously some kind of, genetic feed through. But it was the greatest honour to be asked to play Anne Frank's mother in the BBC adaptation of it. It was the most wonderful 5 films, and to investigate those lives was just extraordinary. And then to play another mum, a contemporary mum. And you just realise that, that the women...
Well, listen, while we've got this matter along, I've got a very odd question for you. What do you get if you cross cows and bats?
Cows and bats?
Yeah.
Battle.
Okay. No. What you get is very happy bats. We're going to pop out.
Yeah.
You watch
Hopefully
this
we'll see you in a little while.
Okay. Oh yes, hello and welcome to the One Show with Matt Baker.
And Alex Jones. And before we start, we must apologise that your One Show was interrupted last night. Now, believe it or not, it was somebody cooking a baked potato in a microwave, which set off all of the fire alarms.
Yeah, so if you're listening down there, do you mind having your tea after 7:30 tonight? That'd be great.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Dave, didn't you get the memo?
Dave? Dave. Well, on with the show. Now then, our guest tonight is a lady who you really wouldn't want to interrupt mid-flow. Problem? One word. David Miller.
I'd have to say congratulations are in order, because on Sunday night you won Best Actress in a Musical.
I did. Thank you very much. I know, very exciting. Did I miss the final? I'm gutted. Why wasn't I here yesterday? We didn't get to that stage, unfortunately.
And you're nominated for an Olivia Award for the same role in Legally Blonde, yeah?
I can't believe it, to be honest. I was nominated once before, but twice is kind of beyond my wildest dreams. So, very excited.
Well, good luck with that. And we'll be talking a bit about your new play later on.
Great.
But first, we've all seen the violent events unfolding in Libya, Egypt and Tunisia.
Yes, with the internet playing an increasingly large role in these events. One steady home in Reading has been listening in to what people on the ground are actually saying and then telling the world. Is changing events these days.
It's pretty exciting being there. I feel like I was on the front row seat in history. I mean, in the old days it'd be a total media blackout, but now we're getting pictures from all these places. It's just incredible.
Go off there. So do you want to get the jack and potatoes ready? Fire up the microwave. See you later.
Night.
You go, Barclays.
Right then.
Dirty.
To change tact a bit, and John, do you know, John, what this
Don't
little...
forget to tell you my money is in Barclays. Just so you know.
Do you recognise
know what this little creature is?
Oh, it's a house martin. What a nice little fella.
Nearly. Well, if you're scratching your head,
It's almost like a
John's
love
nearly
card.
right.
Can I go?
You can have that. It's actually a pine martin, and they've become rare. In most of the UK.
Well, if you take it indoors, it becomes a house martin.
You're right, absolutely right, John. But Mike Dilger has got
And who would
very,
take that
very
thing
good
home?
news. They may soon be coming to a forest or a house near you soon.
I think you've got to be sensible about it. Or anything that lives in your underpants that shouldn't be there.
You found out all about on our celebrity. But anyway, John, we're going to talk about this wonderful scrapbook here, Mr. Rotten Scrapbook. It's beautifully crafted.
Yeah,
I mean, there's all sorts of incredible things in it. Just give us a bit of an idea of what you've included and why.
It's the story of my life up to this present point. The initial inspiration for it was being on tour last year with Public Image Limited. My up-to-date, I think, best band, my best songwriting goes into that band, and I loved it. I loved being on the road with people that respected each other, weren't constantly arguing, and so little anecdotes on notes started to creep up on me, and it just evolved, because without Public Image, with Public Image, I needed the Pistols. The Pistols, really, I needed my parents' inspiration when I was younger, and one thing led to another, and it gradually expanded into what I think is a true piece of living art, not fart, which is what they put in galleries. It's nothing to do with regular publishing companies, so it's not killed and murdered and kicked to death by committee. It's the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but. It's expensive to put a thing like this together, but if you truly appreciate the people around you in your life that have inspired you the most, well, then you should applaud them.
Yeah.
Right? There's no money to be made for me on this. It's as is.
There's a fantastic collection, as Matt said, of pictures in here. It must have been quite a job to get them together. Did you learn anything about yourself, John, while making this book?
Well, I learned that every record company should have a copy of this on their front desk, so they stop being corrupt from there on in.
Fair enough.
Okay, you've produced it. There's only
What I've learned is I'm not such a nasty person to myself. After all, I don't need to be. And I know the perception over the years has been, I'm always rude and aggressive. I'm not really. That's only in response to insult. I haven't mellowed. It was suggested earlier. I really enjoy my life, and I want to, and I don't see why institutions and structures should deny me those basic civil freedoms and rights.
Yeah, well, it is a very special book. It's only £750, but it is quite expensive at £449. Who are you aiming it at?
Well, you tried buying a ticket for the Wembley final yesterday. They don't come cheap either. And talking about basic civil freedoms, I was really infuriated. Yes, I went to Arsenal Birmingham yesterday, and we were constantly harassed by stewards telling us that we should sit down, we're spoiling the game. Football is now a sit-down sport.
And your friend Rambo, even lost his voice.
I need to come back to this country a little bit more often and put it right. That's cheek.
Was Nora with you at football?
No, that was a boys' day out.
All right.
Nora's in this book, that she features quite heavily.
Very much so.
But you've been married.
That's me missus, and we've been together now very near 30 years.
What's the secret, John?
Honesty, really good arguments, and the ability to forget the nastiness.
Yeah, fair enough.
Good advice. Now then, a date for your
British psyche that makes us want to hang on to anything old, however run down and decrepit it may be.
Yeah, at its best, that means that we are really good at preserving national treasures, which might otherwise be allowed to rot. Isn't that right, Johnny? Now, surely post-war prefabs don't fall into that category, do they?
It's been lovely to have you here, and good luck with a new book, Mr. Ross's Scrapbook.
Tomorrow, Larry Lamb of EastEnders and Gavin and Stacey will be here.
We'll see you at 7. Good evening.
Bye-bye.